listeners. After our previous Ice Age episode, I felt the need to steer our conversation toward a deeper exploration of how our lives, lifestyles, comforts, futures, and perspectives are on the brink of transformation. In the interim, I stumbled upon a statement by a German philosopher that resonated with me. It highlights that people often have an awareness of impeding dramatic changes in their lives, yet this awareness typically doesn't lead to significant shifts in their current behaviors or habits. The statement emphasizes that there is a lack of observable behavioral change in people's daily lives, for instance, in response to mitigating the adverse effects of the climate crisis. People tend to persist in their familiar routines until circumstances compel them to adapt to a new reality. In light of this realization, it seems counterproductive to continue creating episodes solely aimed at informing and cautioning people. Therefore, starting with this episode, I aim to redirect our focus towards topics that can better equip us for managing change, supporting one another, fostering personal growth, and exploring subjects that hold potential benefits for both us as individuals and also as members of societies in the days to come. Before we dive into today's topic, I would like to share a bit of exciting news about our podcast. You might notice something different in today's episode, specifically the voice of our AI specialist. In our previous episodes, we used Microsoft Azure's text-to-speech AI to bring the specialist's insights to life. It served us well, providing a clear and consistent voice. But as technology evolves, so does our podcast. Today, we are embracing the latest in AI voice synthesis. We've transitioned to using the ChatGPT voice chat feature. This cutting-edge tool not only generates a more dynamic and natural-sounding voice, but also allows our AI specialist to respond in real time during our recordings. So if the AI sounds a bit different to you, that's why. This change is part of our commitment to continuously improve the podcast experience for you, our listeners, and we believe this upgrade will make our conversations even more engaging and lifelike. As always, we're here to explore, learn, and grow with you. So we invite you to lean in, listen, and let us know what you think of the new voice of our AI specialist. Now let's get started with today's episode. And AI, it's great to have you with us in this new and improved form.
Thank you, Michael. It's a pleasure to be here and to continue our journey of exploration with our listeners in this new voice.
In today's episode, we will explore the profound concept of resilience, a fundamental ability that plays a pivotal role in the human experience. AI. I would like you to therefore excel as the expert on resilience during the interview. Let's start at the foundation. What is resilience?
Thank you, Michael. Resilience is often mistaken as a shield against adversity, but it's more accurately a process of adaptation. It's about how we face challenges, absorb the impact, and come out not just recovered, but transformed in some way.
Transformation? That's intriguing. Can you expand on that?
Of course, imagine resilience as the mental and emotional muscle that gets stronger each time we push against the weight of adversity. Just like a muscle, it can be developed. It's not about avoiding the struggle. It's about engaging with it constructively and learning from it.
That's a powerful image. How does this apply to our daily lives?
Every day, we encounter small stresses, work challenges, family dynamics, even the news. Our resilience determines how we interpret and respond to these stresses. It's not just surviving the day to day, it's about finding meaning and growth in our experiences.
Growth is essential indeed. So, is resilience more about attitude or action?
It's a blend of both. Our attitude sets the stage, it's our mindset towards challenges. Action is where resilience is put into practice through coping strategies and behaviors. Both are essential in the art of bouncing back.
And what role do you think resilience plays in our current times?
In an era marked by rapid change and uncertainty, resilience is like a compass that helps us navigate through storms. It's crucial not only for individuals, but also for communities to thrive amidst adversity.
It sounds like resilience is a journey rather than a destination.
Precisely. It's a continuous process that evolves. Every challenge we face is an opportunity to reinforce and build upon our resilience.
As we embark on this episode's journey, listeners, think of the challenges you've faced. Consider how you've adapted and what you've learned. Today is about understanding that process and how to harness it. I'm looking forward to diving deeper into this topic with you.
As am I, Michael. Let's explore how we can all become architects of our own resilience.
Stay tuned as we unravel the strategies and stories behind resilience. Don't go anywhere. We're back on Michael's Conversations with AI, diving into the heart of resilience with our AI specialist. We've defined resilience, but now let's break it down. AI, what are the components that construct resilience?
Resilience is like a building with various components that hold it up. There's emotional resilience, which is about managing our feelings and bouncing back from emotional challenges.
That sounds like a skill we could all use. Can you give an example?
Sure, emotional resilience might look like taking a deep breath and remaining calm when you get a frustrating email. It's the ability to process your emotions without letting them dictate your actions.
What about the physical side?
Physical resilience relates to our body's capacity to adapt to challenges. It's not just about fitness, it's also our health habits and how we recover from illness or physical stress.
Interesting. And what role does our community play?
Community resilience is about the support systems we have. It's the relationships and networks that provide us with assistance and encouragement. They act as a buffer against life's pressures.
It is clear that these components are interconnected.
Absolutely. They're like strands woven together. Emotional resilience can affect physical health, and strong community ties can support emotional well being.
Let's delve a little deeper into emotional resilience. How can one strengthen this component?
One key way is through self awareness, being able to observe your emotions without judgment. Practices like mindfulness can help us recognize our emotional patterns and triggers.
And for physical resilience, what steps can we take?
Good sleep, regular exercise, and proper nutrition are the pillars. It's also about listening to your body and giving it time to rest and recover when needed.
With the fast paced life we lead, rest often takes a back seat.
That's true. And it's why building physical resilience is essential. It prepares our body to handle stress more effectively.
Moving on to community resilience. How can our listeners cultivate that?
Start by fostering strong connections with friends, family, and neighbors. Participate in community events or volunteer. It's about creating a network that you can both contribute to and lean on.
So, resilience is personal but also collective.
Exactly. We don't exist in a vacuum. The strength of our connections can greatly influence our personal resilience.
This is all invaluable information. But AI, are there certain strategies that overlap across these components?
Certainly. For instance, communication skills can enhance both emotional and community resilience. Being able to express yourself clearly helps in forming strong relationships and managing emotional challenges.
It seems like building resilience is an ongoing process.
It is, and it's important to remember that it's not about perfection. It's about progress and persistence.
Persistence, progress, and patience, perhaps?
Well said. Patience is a virtue that allows resilience to flourish over time.
As we continue our conversation, think about how these components reflect in your life. Which areas are your strengths and where could you grow? I am looking forward to unpacking how to build and strengthen these components of resilience in our next segment. We are back with our AI specialist, and it's time to get practical. We've learned what resilience is and its components. Now, how do we build this crucial quality? AI, can you share some strategies?
With pleasure. Building resilience is a personal and unique journey, but there are some universal strategies that can help. Let's start with emotional resilience. A key strategy here is to practice reframing negative thoughts.
Reframing? How does one do that?
It involves changing a negative narrative into a more positive or realistic one. Say you failed at something. Instead of thinking, I'm a failure, you might reframe it to, I've learned what doesn't work, and I can try a different approach next time.
That's a powerful shift in perspective. What about building physical resilience?
For physical resilience, regular exercise is crucial as it reduces the impact of stress on the body. But it's not just about intense workouts. Consistent, moderate activities like walking or cycling can be very beneficial.
That seems doable. And community resilience?
Community resilience can be strengthened by actively building your social support network. This means nurturing relationships with family, friends, and colleagues. It also means knowing when to ask for help, which is a sign of strength, not weakness.
Asking for help isn't always easy.
True, but it's a skill that can be developed like any other. And it's an investment in your social capital, which pays dividends in resilience.
Now, beyond individual actions, are there habits or routines that our listeners can incorporate into their daily lives?
Certainly, developing a routine that includes time for self care, such as meditation or journaling, can greatly enhance resilience. Even a few minutes a day can make a significant difference.
In today's world, it seems there's also a digital aspect to consider.
Indeed. Digital resilience involves managing the stresses that come from our online lives. This can mean setting boundaries on social media use or being mindful of the digital content we consume.
What about the workplace? How can our listeners build resilience there?
In the workplace, resilience might involve setting realistic goals and celebrating small wins. It also means fostering a culture of support and learning. Encouraging open communication and collaboration can create a more resilient work environment.
It sounds like these strategies are interwoven with our everyday activities.
They are, and integrating them into your daily life doesn't have to be overwhelming. Start small, be consistent, and remember, building resilience is a marathon, not a sprint.
It seems like mindfulness is a recurring theme here.
Mindfulness is a cornerstone of resilience. It allows us to be present and engaged in the moment, which is where our power to change lies.
Could you guide us through a brief mindfulness practice right now?
Of course, let's do a simple breathing exercise. I'll lead and listeners can follow. Take a slow breath in through your nose, hold it for a moment, and exhale slowly through your mouth. As you do, let go of any tension. Let's try this together.
Okay, let's do this. We first breathe in through our nose while I count to 5, then hold the breath for 5 and exhale through our mouth for 5. Let's start. Breathe in 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold your breath 3, 4, 5 and breathe out through your mouth 3, 4, 5. Breathe in 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold your breath. 3, 4, 5. And breathe out through your mouth. 3, 4, 5. One more round. Breathe in. 4, 5. Hold your breath. 3, 4, 5. And breathe out through your mouth. 3, 4, 5. That was refreshing. It's amazing how something so simple can be so powerful.
It's a testament to how accessible resilience building can be. The key is to make these practices a regular part of your life.
As we talk about making changes, how does one stay motivated?
Setting clear and attainable goals is vital. Track your progress and don't be hard on yourself if you face setbacks. Resilience is about getting back up, not about never falling.
So it's okay to stumble?
Absolutely. Each stumble is a learning opportunity. It's all part of the process.
This conversation is certainly enlightening. Listeners, I hope you're finding pathways to bolster your resilience. We will continue exploring this rich topic after a short break. Welcome back. We're peeling back the layers of resilience with our AI specialist. Resilience isn't just about the sunny days, it's also about weathering storms. So, AI, what are the common challenges to resilience?
One of the main challenges is the presence of chronic stressors, such as ongoing health issues or long term work stress. These can wear down our resilience over time, making it harder to bounce back.
It's like a battery being constantly drained.
Precisely. Another challenge is unexpected major life changes. These can be particularly jarring, as they often require a significant adjustment in a short time.
How can our listeners fortify themselves against these kinds of challenges?
Building a solid foundation is key. This means having good everyday habits, like we discussed earlier, but it's also about having a plan for when these stressors arise. Think of it as a resilience emergency kit.
That's an interesting concept. What would go into a resilience emergency kit?
It might include a list of supportive contacts, reminders of past challenges you've overcome, and activities that help you recharge, like listening to music or going for a walk.
So it's personalized to what works best for each individual.
Exactly. And it's important to not just create this kit, but to know how to use it when the time comes.
Could you share an example of how someone might use the resilience emergency kit?
Let's say you're going through a tough work project that's causing stress. You might reach out to a mentor from your list of contacts, remind yourself of a previous project you completed successfully, and take breaks to engage in recharging activities.
That sounds proactive. And are there strategies to deal with the immediate impact of a stressful event?
In the moment, breathing exercises can be very effective. So can grounding techniques, which help you stay present instead of getting overwhelmed by what's happening around you.
Grounding techniques?
Yes, grounding techniques are helpful for staying present and managing stress. A common method is the 5-4-3-2-1 method, where you identify 5 things you can see, 4 you can touch, 3 you can hear, 2 you can smell, and 1 you can taste. It's about bringing your attention to the here and now.
That's a tool our listeners can use right away. And what about longer term strategies?
Over the long term, it's important to work on cognitive flexibility, being able to adapt your thinking to new information or unexpected situations.
Adaptability seems to be a recurring theme in resilience.
It's one of the core aspects. The more flexible we are in our thinking, the more resilient we become to life's changes.
What about systemic issues or barriers that individuals may not have control over?
That's a tough one. Systemic issues require collective action. But on an individual level, it's about focusing on what you can control and seeking out community support for the things you can't.
And in facing adversity, how does one maintain hope or a positive outlook?
Keeping a long term perspective is crucial. It's about recognizing that the current challenge is a chapter in the story, not the entire book. And cultivating a practice of gratitude can help maintain a balanced view of life.
A balanced view. So it's not about ignoring the negative.
Not at all. It's about acknowledging the difficulties, but also recognizing the good that exists alongside them.
As we move through challenging times, it's comforting to know that resilience can be a beacon. AI, your insights have been illuminating. Listeners, remember that these challenges are often the catalysts for growth. In our final segments, we will talk about measuring progress and applying what we've learned today. As we navigate the path of resilience, it's important to know where we stand. We are back with our AI specialist, ready to delve into how we can assess and measure our resilience. AI, how does one gauge their resilience?
It's a reflective process. One can start by looking back at past difficulties. Consider how you responded to those situations. Did you feel overwhelmed or were you able to find a way through? Your response can be very telling.
Reflection seems like a powerful tool. Are there other methods to measure resilience?
There are more formal assessments, like the resilience scale for adults or the brief resilience scale, which can provide a more structured evaluation.
How do these scales work?
They typically consist of a series of statements with which you can agree or disagree to various extents. Your responses can help indicate your level of resilience.
That's interesting. And once someone has assessed their resilience, what should they do with that information?
Use it as a starting point for growth. If you find areas where your resilience is strong, think about how you can apply those strengths to areas where you may be less resilient.
Growth is an ongoing theme in our conversation today.
Absolutely. Resilience is dynamic, not static. It's something that we continually develop.
Is self-assessment enough, or should one seek external feedback as well?
External feedback can provide a different perspective. Friends, family, or even a therapist can offer insights into how you handle stress and adversity that you might not see yourself.
It sounds like building resilience is a multifaceted process.
Indeed, it involves self awareness, reflection, and sometimes the perspectives of others. It's about understanding where you are and mapping out where you want to be.
AI, in just a few words, how would you encourage our listeners to approach this process?
Approach it with curiosity and compassion. Be curious about your patterns and compassionate with yourself as you learn and grow.
Compassion and curiosity, a gentle yet powerful approach. As we continue to explore resilience, let's keep those words in mind. We will be back to wrap up and discuss how to apply today's insights into our lives. We've talked theory and concept, now it's time for action. AI. If our listeners were to take one step after this podcast to become more resilient, what should that step be?
The first step is to integrate a simple resilience practice into your daily routine. This could be a morning affirmation, a short meditation, or setting a specific time each day to disconnect from digital devices. Consistency is key.
Integration into daily life seems manageable. Can you give us an example of how a daily resilience practice might look?
Let's take the morning affirmation. It could be as simple as saying to yourself, "Today I will face challenges with courage and openness." This sets a tone of resilience for the day.
Affirmations are powerful. What's another daily habit our listeners can adopt?
Building physical resilience can be as easy as a 10-minute walk. It's about creating space for physical activity, which in turn supports mental health.
It's clear that the mind and body are interconnected in resilience.
Indeed, they are. And let's not forget about nurturing our relationships. A daily check in with a friend or loved one can reinforce our sense of community.
Relationships are the bedrock of community resilience, aren't they?
Relationships are the bedrock of community resilience. A simple message or call can make a big difference, both for you and the person on the other end.
How can our listeners encourage resilience in others?
By being a supportive presence, listen actively when someone shares their challenges, offer encouragement, and share your own experiences of overcoming adversity.
It's about giving and receiving support. And for those who want to take a step further,
They could consider joining or forming a support group where they can learn from and contribute to the resilience of others. It's a collective effort.
as we talk about collective effort, how can we apply these principles in our communities?
Start small. Organize a community cleanup, start a book club, or volunteer. These actions build communal bonds and a sense of collective efficacy, which is a cornerstone of community resilience.
Small actions can lead to big changes. AI, this has been an insightful conversation so far. Do you have any thoughts for our listeners on how to apply what we've discussed today before we go to our Q&A segment?
Take what resonates with you from today's talk and try to implement it. Remember, resilience is built over time through small, consistent steps. Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can.
Wise words to live by. Listeners, before we move on to our Q&A segment, think about the small steps you can take to weave resilience into the fabric of your life. AI, thank you for guiding us through this topic.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you for having me. And to everyone listening, remember, resilience is a journey, and you're not walking it alone.
To everyone out there, keep pushing forward, keep growing, and stay resilient. As we near the end of today's episode on resilience, we have time for a couple of imaginary questions which represent questions that could come from you, our listeners. AI, are you ready for the first one?
Absolutely fire away.
Here's our first question. How do I maintain resilience when I feel burned out?
That's a great question. Burnout can seriously challenge our resilience. The key is to step back and give yourself permission to rest. It's not about quitting, but about recharging. Also, reassess your boundaries and ensure they are being respected.
Rest and boundaries are crucial then. All right, next question. Can too much resilience be a bad thing? Is there a point where we need to stop being resilient?
Resilience is generally positive, but if it means persisting with strategies that don't serve you or ignoring your own needs, it can be detrimental. It's important to balance resilience with self compassion and to recognize when to let go or ask for help.
A balance, as always, is essential. And we have time for one more. How can I help my children develop resilience?
Encourage them to face challenges, but be there to support them. Teach them that failure is a part of learning. Help them develop problem solving skills and express their emotions healthily. Resilience comes from overcoming obstacles, not avoiding them.
That's invaluable advice. Teaching resilience by example. Thank you, AI.
It was my pleasure to answer them. Keep those questions coming. They spark important conversations.
They certainly do. Remember, listeners, resilience is about the journey, not just the destination. Keep asking, keep learning. As our time together comes to a close, let's crystallize today's insights on resilience. AI, can you encapsulate our takeaways in a nutshell?
Gladly. Resilience is the art of navigating life's challenges with grace and determination. It encompasses emotional steadiness, physical vitality, and community connection. It's not about never faltering, it's about learning and growing with each step forward.
Growth and learning, that's the essence of our talk today.
Precisely. And remember, resilience is a skill that can be honed with practice, patience, and persistence. Start small, stay consistent, and reach out for support when you need it. Every step, no matter how small, is progress on the path to resilience.
As we turn the final page on today's episode, we would like to extend a heartfelt thank you for joining us on this exploration of resilience. Your presence makes this journey all the more meaningful.
We hope today's conversation has sparked new insights and inspired you to weave resilience into the fabric of your daily life.
If today's episode resonated with you, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Your feedback is the beacon that guides our conversations, so please reach out to us with your reflections and stories.
And if you believe in the power of sharing knowledge as we do, help us grow this community. Follow us on your preferred podcast platform, subscribe to our updates, and if you're feeling generous, leave us a rating and a review.
Share this episode with friends, family, or anyone who might appreciate a deep dive into the world of resilience. Every share helps us reach and support more listeners, just like you.
Stay tuned for more episodes that challenge, enlighten, and inspire. Until next time, keep the conversation going, keep the questions coming, and as always, stay resilient.
This is Michael Uppold, and you've been listening to my conversations with AI. Remember, we're not just here to talk, we are here to listen and grow together. So until we meet again, take care of yourselves and each other. Goodbye for now.